Welcome back to the Keep Going podcast with Vin Kennedy. I'm your host, Vin Kennedy. Today we have a special guest. This is Toan. Toan, you want to do a brief intro on yourself?
Absolutely, absolutely. Hello, everyone. Toan Nguyen here. I guess you could say that I'm a content creator on the side. I'm working as account manager currently, but I'm in ultra running, and my goal here is just to share my running journey and inspire, motivate others to get up, get active, and all the good stuff, and get out the comfort zone. So, a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast, bro.
Of course, man. Yeah, honestly, I came across your content. I was like, this is awesome. And what really the draw is that like you're just having so much fun doing it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there's people out there that are chasing, like even myself, I'm chasing a sub 3 and
yeah,
it's grueling, but to see you out there and I have fun with my runs too. So like I'm not
yeah,
in this complete like dogfight, but to see you out there, like you just did a 4-day event, which we'll definitely get into, and just
yeah.
smiling the whole time and like good vibes. It's cool to see.
Absolutely, bro. And yeah, I mean, bro, like, trust me, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I don't have the highs and lows of like, because I'm trying to chase a sub three too. If you're not having, why do it, right? But no, absolutely, bro. Everything I do is truly, just running in general is a big gratitude thing for me. So I'm always happy just to have a well-able body and to be able to move. So yeah, no, absolutely, just always gotta have fun with it, bro.
Absolutely. If yeah, I mean, if you want to just dive right into the 4-day event that you just had, I mean, sure, there's tons to unpack there.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah, so this past weekend, I ran a 4-day ultra marathon. It's called the Born to Run. So within this event, it's actually it's honestly one of the craziest and coolest events that I've ever attended. Like just in general, just not even
Yeah.
running. It is an event with multiple events inside. And the great thing about this is like it's huge in the ultra community because it's like you can kind of make what you want to do. You can make the event however you want to make it, right? Just for example, so this event is in Los Olivos. It's on a ranch. It's on a private ranch. And the course is two 20-mile loops. So each loop has at least like first loop has about 1,000 feet elevation. The second loop has about 1,400 elevation. But basically, they have a 4-day option, which is what I did, which is basically log as many miles as you can in 96 hours. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And then they have a 100 miler, which starts Friday. And then on Saturday, they have a 50 miler, 30 miler, and a 10 miler. And they also have something called the zero point 0, which is basically that people just want to come, enjoy the vibes, and just like support the runners and stuff, right? Because basically, so it's two 20-mile loops, but the loop comes back to this main campground. But on this campground, bro, it's like a big party. Like I'm pretty sure you saw my stories when I
Yeah,
posted. Like it was
yeah,
live music every night. They had beer miles every day. They had like margarita things. So it's like little up the day. So basically, like if you have a crew come, like they'll have a great time. Like people are barbecuing. And I met a lot of dope people. It's just bro. It's honestly an ultra runner or just a runner's retreat. Like just it's just fun. You know what I'm saying? From what I was saying earlier, you kind of make it what you want to make it for the 4-day. Because, bro, I know guys out there that just went nonstop and was trying to go for the course record. I think the course record is like 270 miles. The guy that won it this year hit 240. And it's funny because I was chatting with him at the end of the race, and I think he might have slept like 6, 7 hours total in
it's
in in four
crazy.
days. And
Yeah,
like for me, I had this audacious goal of hitting 200 miles. And I had a game plan, but like as I was going through the event, bro, it was just like it was one of those things. Was like, damn, I'm trying to enjoy the festivities too, because like this is such an amazing event. So I ended up like cutting a loop or two short, or like getting some rest too, because like first of all, this is my first time running a multi-day race, so I didn't know how my legs were gonna react day after day. So I definitely
right.
want to go the rest route, but nonetheless, I made sure I made some of the events and planned my loops so I could finish to attend a beer mile. I didn't do the beer mile, but attend the beer mile and then catch like some live music the last night. But I know some people, bro, like they came and they was like, you know what, I just want to hit 100 and just enjoy the evening. Or some people came just knocked out 24 hours straight and just enjoyed 3 days,
Yeah,
of just camping. So it's dope how you can really just make the event how you want to. But for me, dude, like it was new territory for me. Like I came into this race when I signed up months ago. Like in 2021, I made a promise to myself. That's when I started my running journey. I made a promise to myself that every year I would do at least a 100-mile ultra marathon or more. So this 4-day event was just me logging 100 miles plus, and let's see what that physical and mental limit to push. You know what I'm saying? Like just get out my comfort zone. Um, so yeah, so that's how I stumbled upon that event. But bro, it's just like it was one of those events where I was looking for that the darkness. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to push myself and find that breaking point, as sadistic as that sounds. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But dude, like the whole weekend for me was just gratitude. If I had to put a word on those 4 days, bro, it was like truly gratitude. Like the community and the support from everyone there. It just made me realize how beautiful the running community is. You know, and it's crazy because there's a statistic, and don't quote me on this, but I believe like 1% of the human population runs has ran a marathon or completed a marathon, correct? Like
I think
some
it's
yeah,
less. Yeah, it's less than 1%.
some low percentage. So you gotta think like there's a smaller percentage of that has completed an ultra marathon. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, and then like I don't know if you've done any ultra marathons, but most all the ultra marathons that I've been to, the ultra marathon community is usually older individuals. Like I was the third youngest person in the 4 day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in the past three ultra marathon, well, four ultra marathons that I've done, I was always on the younger quartile. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's great seeing so many people from different walks of life. Especially, I mean, it's one thing to see that from a marathon standpoint. I love going to marathons and like running marathons and supporting and cheering at marathons, but from an ultra marathon perspective, it's a whole different game. You know what I'm saying? And being out there with older individuals and chatting with them and like getting to know their stories when they started, and like picking their brains because, but they say a lot of older people run ultra marathons. The majority of people that run ultra marathons are older because they've gone through more shit in life and they have a higher pain threshold to say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
More
saying?
battle tested for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
bro. Because bro, there's some savage moms out there, or some
Yeah.
savage grandmothers out there, bro. Like I'm in pain trekking, and mom's passing by. Keep going, sweetheart. Like keep doing your thing. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
true.
Yeah. So yeah, bro. For me, it was just a big gratitude weekend because at the end of the day, dude, it's one of those things when you're surrounded by those individuals, it's like, damn, like since I'm so young, it's like, damn, what are the possibilities if I continue at this rate? How will I be when I'm their age? You know what I'm saying? Like
So
that,
true.
you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So like, so I told every individual that I ran with, hiked with, or saw at the campgrounds, like I truly do look up to you all because like when I hit your age, I want to be just like you guys. I want to be at this event 30 years from now, and you know what I'm saying, and hopefully I'll be able to talk to some young gun that's me 30 years from now. You know what I'm saying? But no,
Absolutely.
it's truly gratitude, bro. Because at the end of the day, it's like it's beautiful. Like it's the little things we take for granted in life. And like for me, it was just like the ability, just like the ability to move. You know what I'm saying? Like we take being mobile for granted. You know,
Yeah.
um. So just
Well,
to
it's even
be
honestly,
out there.
it goes right into the what we were talking about before, where it's like the sub 3 chasing versus the ultra world, where it's like obviously ultra is not easy, and especially when you're starting to get into 100 miles, it is not easy. But you
Yeah.
need to slow down and actually absorb it more than you would for a marathon. Because if you're
There
chasing
is
a time
more
goal,
strategy. Yeah, I mean, well, there's
yeah,
strategies in
yeah,
marathons too, but bro, it's a whole different game because a lot of people think like, oh, you're running 100 miles, like you're running the whole 100. Honestly, no, like I'm not running up a hill, bro. I mean, like I know some the elites and savages, they're running, but me as a normal runner, average runner, like I'm hiking up the hills. At that point, you're playing chess with yourself, right? Like, how can you like the way I see ultras, bro, is like is energy management, and then at some point it's going to be pain management because the real
so
race doesn't
true.
start until like I mean, you know, in a marathon the real race doesn't start till mile 18 to 20. That's when the pain and the fun really starts in a marathon distance. But in the ultra world, bro, like if you're running 100 miles, the race doesn't start till mile 70, 80. You know,
Right.
and that sounds crazy to say, like just throwing like that such a huge number, but it's one of those things where it's like you have to strategize, and it is the long game. Like at some point in the ultra, I'll say this, and like people may have their different opinion. This is my personal opinion in the ultra game, bro. Like the pain's coming. That is no doubt. It is way more mental than physical when it comes to ultra marathons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, but dude, I mean,
Did you
like
have a crew?
I, it's
Because
fun.
it
My
seemed like, I mean, and like you said, the whole thing looked like I was
yeah,
sending your stories to like all my friends that run. It was like, this is a party. Like, this isn't even an ultra. Like, obviously, what they're going through. And I knew you were
yeah,
sleeping in your car. So I'm like, that's tough. But I was like,
yeah,
this looks like a great time. And I was like, it doesn't even seem like you needed a crew there because there was such a great community.
Dude, I'm glad you just asked that, bro. Because like, so for my first two 100 milers, I had an all-star crew. But this was like when I lived on the East Coast.
Right.
So like, I wasn't gonna ask my crew to fly out to the West Coast to
Right.
spend 4 days in the mountain. I mean, I'm pretty sure some may have came, but
Might have
like, you
done
know,
it, yeah.
that's a big financial
Right.
commitment. You know what I'm saying? And time commitment. Because at the end of the day, like the crew is hard work too. You know what I'm saying? But to go back to your question, bro, like, no, I did not have a crew. I had one person come out and pace me for 20 miles Friday morning. My buddy Brooks, he lives in LA. So shout outs to Brooks. Thanks for coming out and giving me 20 miles. But no, bro, I didn't have a crew. It's funny because I was supposed to have more pacers and my girlfriend was supposed to come hang out, but they missed the registration to come. So like with this, since it's a private event, pacers and crew had to register as well. But yeah, dude. So no, I didn't have a crew, but I didn't really need a crew. You know what I'm saying? Because I was able to do everything from my car. But going back to what you were saying again, and what I was saying earlier, bro, the community and the people that were running this race were so, bro. The camaraderie is there, dude. I met this one guy on the trail. His name's Alex. Big love to him and his crew, his family, bro. We ran 30 miles together day two, and after we finished the first 10 miles, I lie to you not, bro. They fed me every day afterwards.
That's
Every
awesome.
day, every day when I passed by the thing, I'd say, "What's up?" And they would say, "Oh, do you need anything? Would you like a cheeseburger? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you want a beer?" And I was like, "Absolutely. I won't say no." So like, big shout outs to them because like I wouldn't have like I got a lot of food from them and like,
Right.
bro, the feel is crazy because it was better than my snacks. Like I'm not gonna lie. If you saw my video on Instagram when I went to the grocery haul, it was
Yeah.
straight snacks. You know, they were selling burritos too, but it was nice to have different variety and choices in my nutrition over 4 days. So going back to your question, yeah, dude, like I didn't have a crew, but like, bro, it's truly a family event. Like the people you meet there, they become your family. That's the first thing the race director said to me when I met him. It's like, dude, after these 4 days, this is gonna be your family, and I truly believe it, bro. Because like everyone that I met there, majority of them has ran this event multiple times or have gone to this event multiple times. And bro, after my 4 days, I can say that I'm gonna come back every year as long as I don't have another race or another thing that I got to do on that weekend. So,
Yeah.
um,
I think me and my buddy Dan might be joining you as well.
hey, let's
Um,
rock, dude. Hey, hey,
absolutely.
we'll have a whole little camping like little areas just spotted
Absolutely.
up and like, dude, I highly recommend it, bro. Just
Yeah.
you, it's a great time, bro. Like you won't
Yeah.
regret it. Like
Absolutely. And you did another one, right? Where
it was a blast.
you ran to Vegas, right?
Oh yeah, last month. I'm actually repping my team shirt right now. Yeah, so the Speed Project. So the Speed Project is they have a solo race, but the one I did was a relay race from Santa Monica, LA to Las Vegas.
How
Yeah,
many
so
miles was that?
so the crazy thing it can be 290 plus. So it's an unsanctioned race. So basically, like it's unsanctioned in a sense where if you get into shit, you gotta get yourself out of it, right? And the only rule is like you can't run on the main highways. So whichever route you want to take to get from LA to Vegas, find it and then take that route. But like
Crazy.
they have they call it the OG route, which is like the main route that people usually run. That's through Death Valley, and it ranges around I want to say 340 miles. But me and my team we took a shortcut and we ended up the route was supposed to be 290ish, but we got lost a little bit on the route. So I think total we ended up doing like 310, 315. So definitely a 300 plus mile relay race from LA to Vegas, bro. But it
Awesome.
was so fun, dude.
How
Yeah,
many team members was in that?
so they have different formats. So we did the freestyle, which is that you can have as many people as you like. So we had 8 runners and 2 crew, but they have the OG, which is I want to say 4 guys and 2 girls, and then they have like all men's, all women's, and then they have the freestyle.
How many miles did you personally run in that one?
So we broke it up. I think I ran about 40. Yeah,
Okay.
I ran about 40. And like every team has like a different strategy and stuff. So like I believe like most of the segments we were running like 5Ks, like 3 miles breakdowns, and then like 1 mile as we got tired or in the later stretch.
The more I'm talking to you about it, and I see it in my like with myself now. With like, I just went to Philly for the weekend, and 2 days before going out there, I set up like a run with. I don't know if you're familiar with Endorphins. They're out of New York City.
Dude, Tyler Schwartz, bro. I met
Yes.
him. I met him last year, at the New York City Marathon.
Yeah.
Great, hey, great,
Really
great
cool dude.
dude. Shout outs to Tyler and everything that he's doing right now with his with the Endorphins crew. Like he's making some noise, and I love it. He's bringing people together for all the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
big shout outs to Tyler.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, you got guys like Tyler, guys like your buddy Matt, like they're just blowing up
Yeah.
the running community. And so Tyler put me in touch with a guy named John, who he's known as like the super commuter on TikTok. He commutes from Philly to New York City every morning for work. Yeah, it's
Oh
wild.
man.
But he's a big runner too, and he's I think he's the head of the Philly Endorphins group. And it was 2 days notice we were able to get like 15 people together to run. And like I personally was someone that I've done 2 marathon preps now, and I'm in a half marathon slash I'm doing the rim to rim to rim. So I'm in like half
Ooh,
marathon ultra prep. Yeah.
that'll be fun.
So, but I've done like I would say 98% of my runs on my own. So now the last couple of weeks and months I've been adding like runs with people and groups.
Yeah.
It's an absolute game changer. The community is so cool. And to be able to like push and motivate each other is just a different
Yeah.
animal. But I definitely want to hear your insight on like community and running. And I know like I mentioned, like you're close with Matt and
Yeah.
the things that him and Tyler are doing are just awesome.
There's nothing beat crew or a track club. I think there's a fine line though. But I mean, you break up your pie chart, right? Um, I would say on my end, it's definitely it's better. It's not. I mean, it's people's preference, right? But if you break down the pie chart, I think it's good to have that solitude when it comes to running too. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, just from the ultra world, like there's gonna be moments where you're running by yourself at night. You know what I'm saying? So it's like being able to um know that you can be in your own mental headspace and run for training. And especially like during a marathon, bro, like you're around a lot of people, but you're probably not talking to them. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Um, but but it's also like just it's just a different mentality when you're by yourself, right? I'm pretty sure you understand that. We're just
Absolutely.
it's just
Yeah.
the self accountability, right? Just knowing that you can show up for yourself no matter what, right? Like you don't need other people there to do what you got to do. But on the other side of that, once you got that down, once you bring the community aspect, bro, I'm a firm believer in iron sharpens iron. You know what I'm saying? So it's being able to work with
Absolutely.
other people, like friendly competition, or just like just pushing each other, just motivating each other. Um, but more so, that's just like the social aspect, bro. I think that the beauty of running, and especially when with other people, is like everyone's journey looks different, you know. And I see all of our running journeys for everyone just like a marathon or just like an ultra marathon, bro. Like when you when you line up for a race, we all have the same start line and the same finish line, but everything in between looks different for every, you know, the journey looks
Absolutely.
different for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So you might have someone that started running a month ago. Recently, I've connected with some people out here in Santa Barbara, and some of them were like collegiate athletes, you know, and they were burned out from competition, and now they just run for leisure, and they don't look to sign up for a marathon or a half marathon XYZ. You know what I'm saying? Versus me, I've been in sports my whole life. I played football to my freshman year of college. I boxed a little bit. I ran track in high school. But now, like I started running 2 years ago. Now I'm cranking races like as much as possible. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So everyone's journey is different. Um, I think that's the beauty of it when you go to these run communities or you meet people, meet other runners, and you guys share that. It's just like damn, like there's a lot of things that we can all connect with, and yeah, dude. I mean, I think it's just beautiful, like how the with running, the barrier to running is very minute compared to like other sports. And it's funny, Matt said this thing to me one time. Well, he was not to me, but he said this, and it holds true. Like running is one of the sports where you can register for an event and you'll line up with Kipchoge, right? Everyone that ran the Boston Marathon ran the same event as Kipchoge this past weekend. How often can you say that you'll be playing a football game with Pat Mahomes?
Right.
You know what I'm
It's true.
saying? So
Yeah.
so so it's one of those things where it's like no matter like what walk of life you're in, like you can line up with the best people on the same day and have that same race, running the same course. But just as I mentioned earlier before, everything in between looks different
So true.
for each person, dude. So I think
Yeah.
that's the beauty of running right there.
Absolutely. And it's funny you say that because I started running probably, I would say like 11 months ago, and I'm facing this sub three. And I sit here and I'm like, I ran two marathons. My PR is a 3:11, trying to go sub 130 for this half on Sunday. And you sit there and like, you could get
Hey,
on yourself.
let's go.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, but it's easy to get on yourself and be like, oh, why haven't I hit this sub three in two
Yeah.
marathons? And then you
Trust me, I
sit there and you
know.
scale it back. Yeah. And you compare in a positive way where it's like a guy like Nick Bear, I'm pretty sure it took him like 3 years to hit a sub three. So it's like,
Dude,
what's
I
the
think
rush?
I watched his video. He took a while to hit his sub three. His
Yeah.
running journey is quite impressive, actually.
Yeah,
I think he didn't hit it
absolutely.
till his fifth or sixth marathon or something like that. So, yeah, bro. I mean, trust me, I know exactly how you feel.
Yeah,
When I ran TIM this last year, I felt like I was in sub three shape, but like, bro, with these distance races, you just never know what can happen race day, and like, you just got to prepare for it. But it's one of those things where it's like, damn, like you gotta give yourself more credit and the
absolutely.
race more credit, right? Where it's just like you at the end of the day, like, bro, the preparation, you just gotta trust that, right? And you put in the work, and just, bro, for you to hit a 3:11 and you only started running 11 months ago, that's very impressive, right? But
But
it's
it's
one of
it's
those things
funny
like,
though how scalable it all is, right? Because then this past weekend, I believe one of the girls that ran with us, she ran 12 miles and that was her PR. And it's like
yeah,
we're all running together. I had a couple buddies that, I mean, a couple of kids there like placing ultras, the
yeah,
absolute savages. I don't know if you know Kellen Matthews, but
nah.
him and my buddy Dan, they place in ultras and they make it look easy and it's like crazy. And then you have someone that's running 12 miles for the first time, and it's like
Yeah,
it's all scalable. It really is.
yeah.
It's so cool to see the journey, and like it's something you could all do together.
I mean, bro, it's great that because at the end of the day, because bro, I have the same mindset. It's because we hold ourselves to a higher standard and we want that goal, right? But there's always a problem. But there was someone that sent me this message after my last marathon, and it's so true, right? She sent me a message. She said, "Oh, congrats on your marathon, on finishing your marathon. Like, how do you feel? How'd you do?" So I went on this rant saying, "Oh, I got a PR, but I didn't hit my goal." Just like you said, like it's all scalable, but like we feel the way we do because we set that expectation and goal for us. So that's just a personal thing that we have to work through. But
Yeah,
ideally, bro, running 12 miles is amazing. Running 20 a marathon is amazing. But just like we said, like 1% of the human population has ran a marathon. You know what I'm saying? And I think that goes back to like even when people are running now, it's like oh when they talk to me, bro, they'll try to like dumb down like a 5K or a 10K. I was like, yo, like a mile is long. Like don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Like 10 miles is 10 miles. If you just ran 10 miles and you've never ran 10 miles before, like, bro, I've been there before. You know, it's like
right,
I didn't come out the womb running 100 miles, you know,
right.
so
Absolutely.
it's like slowly progression. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's it's amazing how, and I guess it's kind of like the comparative mindset too, right? When people see that you've done a certain thing, they'll try to quantify what what they can do versus what you've done. Um, but nah, dude. I mean, just looping it all back. It's just like any distance is a challenge, regardless, right? Like, bro, I've ran a 5K and I've ran all out, and I can say that that shit was more painful than probably a 50 miler that I've done. You know,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
when you go full blown, you know. So it's just like I respect every race distance, you know, or just like every running accomplishment per the individual, because yo, like if you're someone and you've never ran a half marathon before and you just did your first half marathon, yo, that's your 100 miles.
Well, I've learned to have grace and just kind of like accept it, and like it's part of the journey, and it's more runs, more preps I get to dive into, and I use all of them as reasons to travel. So like I went to Colorado. I'm
Oh
from Jersey. Went to
yeah,
Colorado. Went to Arizona. I'm like, whatever. If I got to do it
yeah,
in Grandma's Marathon or Oregon, whatever.
yeah,
Like I'll hit it
bro.
somewhere.
The traveling is the best part.
Yeah,
It gives
absolutely,
you reasons to go out, bro. Like so, no, that's
sure.
facts.
And what's some tips you would have for new runners?
Hmm. I have a good one. I actually heard this. I heard this the other day, bro. Um, because a lot of beginner runners, right, new runners, are probably looking to run to get in shape, right? But not a lot of runners are getting in shape to run, if that makes sense,
Yeah,
right? In a sense of like people are just going out and pounding pavement, but if they're not doing it strategically or correctly, then they may be doing more damage than good, you know. And that goes with like people getting burnt out or overuse injury and you can't even run anymore. Then you have a negative relationship with running.
It's true.
So basically what I'm saying, getting in shape for running is like, are your mechanics right? You know what I'm saying? Like how your running mechanics, or are you are you going out and you're running 100% every damn time and you're
Yeah.
burning yourself out versus the 80-20 rule and progressing 10% every week and doing your easy runs actually easy. You know what I'm saying? So I think my biggest advice is to get in a physical and mental shape to run before you're running to get in shape. And I know that's hard to like is
No,
to
it definitely makes so much sense. Yeah.
but just like if you shift that mindset and think about it that way, your relationship with running will be a lot better. And like if you have a good relationship with anything, it'll be prolonged, right? Um, but going off of that too, I think a lot of people use running, especially new runners, use running as this motor to, as I said, get in shape and like in their minds is like if I don't feel tired and if I'm not sweating, if I'm not in pain, that I didn't get my work's worth. When that's really not the case, bro. So I think people should focus on the joy and the fun and enjoying running before going into, like full on let's grind mode. You know what I'm saying? Like whether that's
Absolutely.
going to a run club and finding friends to run with, or just like going on a scene, like doing it for um joy, like finding the fun in running before just like locking on a goal. But then again, like I totally understand because like my journey with running was simply started with me wanting to get out of my comfort zone physically and mentally. And it was like hitting these goals, doing my first 100 miler, doing this marathon, trying to hit a sub three. So I totally understand where that's coming from. So I'm speaking from experience. It's a good medium to have a little bit of both. But especially after this past weekend, bro, and even running the speed project, I find running for me has transformed into a big gratitude kick. And I enjoy running so much more when it's just I'm simply just so happy and blessed just to be out here, to be around great people, great energy, and just to be able to move. You know what I'm saying? But it's just a bonus that I'm hitting PRs in my marathon. It's just a bonus that I ran 170 miles. Um,
Absolutely.
but I think it's just like that mindset of just being grateful. That's taken me along. And I think with that, with anyone that's starting their running journey, always think the long game, right? The delayed gratification, like anything worth having, isn't going to come easy. For example, this sub three, right? Like, because if it was easy, bro, everyone would be cranking Boston qualifiers left and right, you know.
So true.
But that's the joy of the journey, right? Like when you hit these downfalls, bro, because when you do hit that freaking sub three, you know how good that's gonna feel. You know what I'm saying? Versus someone going out there and hitting the sub three the first time. I mean that's amazing. But I'm just
Yeah.
trying to,
No, absolutely.
I'm just putting some perspective on it. So it's just like as cliche and corny as it is, but like you can't have a good story if there's no downfall, right?
Absolutely.
So I just know the way I feel after not hitting my goals, I just don't want to feel that way again. So it pushes me and motivates me to go harder in the next training block, right? But then I always go back to like always keep that pocket of gratitude regardless. But yeah, so
It's fun.
let's
It's
start.
really funny you say that though,
Yeah,
because actually like 2 weeks ago, and not to be like that, I don't think um my times have always been set correctly on my speed days. So like I had my first speed day where I missed splits. And this is in again like 10 months, 11 months of running. So for me, I see my coach writes out just say like you got to hit like a 6:45. Like in my head, I automatically go 6:40. Like you're under 6:40 for
yeah,
everyone.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's just how I do it.
yeah,
So I missed a couple splits. I was tired. I didn't sleep well that week. Whatever, all the excuses in the world. And as was finishing up, so after my like workout, I'll always have like cool down miles.
yeah.
During my cool down miles, I was pissed off during speed stuff, but then when the down miles came, I was kind of sitting there and I was like, it was like Wednesday at like 2 p.m. And I'm like, I'm running around a high school track. Like, who has it better than me right now? Like, no one. So it was like
Dude,
that shift in gratitude where I was sitting there and I was like, I get to do this. Like, it's not I have to, it's I get to do this. And like, I'm running around a high school track right now on a Wednesday at 28 years
midday.
old. Yeah, midday. And I'm like,
Bro,
who, like,
perspective, bro.
yeah,
Perspective.
absolutely. And it's been a game changer. And then from there, I've just, people have been hitting me up to run. And like, one of the things in my head was always like, well, obviously the more you go, the quicker your easy pace tends to get. Your heart rate
Yeah.
stays lower. So like even this weekend, like there was like a faster crew and a slower crew with that run. And like faster crew, I was finding we were dropping down to like 7:30. My
Yeah.
heart rate was like 134. Like
You
I'm
was
good, but
chilling.
at the same time, it's
Yeah.
like it's cool to scale it back and then run with the slower group. And it's like it
Yeah.
really shows you like it could be community based. Yes, like have the goals, be firm with yourself with them.
Yeah.
Kind of just leave room for play because at the same time you're running.
Absolutely. Bro, isn't it crazy, man? You can definitely relate to it. Isn't it crazy how when you commit to like, and let's just speak to running, okay? But I think this can be applied to anything. Isn't it crazy once you commit to a tough goal or getting out your comfort zone, trying to hit this sub 3, and you're training for it because you're consistent, right? It's self-discipline, consistency, and ideally patience, right? But isn't it crazy as you go on your journey, especially with running, it just gives you perspective on life overall,
Yeah,
right? Like I know for me to
absolutely.
like after doing like ultra marathons and even marathons, bro, it's just like my perspective on life has I compare everything with like my experience from running. So for example, like if I'm having a tough day, if I'm dealing with a tough client or like things are just not going my way in life overall, I'll always be like, oh, this is like mile 50. This is like mile 60. Or I'll go like, oh, this can't be bad as mile 90 in the mountains at freaking 6 a.m. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like
Absolutely.
as you do hard stuff and you overcome um like tough mental battles, physical battles, it gives you perspective on life where it's just like you're able to handle and react to certain things that comes when it comes to distance running. It's really about problem solving because something's going to go wrong no matter what.
True.
But when it goes wrong, what are you going to do about it in that moment to cross that finish line, you know? So
So true.
yeah, dude, I think running is the greatest metaphor to life, bro, because like what you put in is what you get out. Someone
Yeah.
that's not my quote, that's someone else's quote, but that it
So
holds
true.
true.
Yeah.
It really holds true.
How do you kind of hold like balance with like life and running? Like obviously you throw yourself, you said once a year at like basically 100 miles plus. So that's a big feat. Staying on track to train for that. I know what it entails. How do you
Yeah,
kind of balance just like a social life? I don't know if you go out and drink or like hanging out.
yeah,
Obviously you said you got a girl. Like how do you kind of juggle all that and work?
yeah. I view it's I mean the words really lifestyle, right? Um, I have this thing I say we're all athletes in the game of life, you know? So the way I view the way I train for things, just the way I do things from my day to day is my lifestyle. Like running and train, going up and waking up and running, the way I rest, the way I recover, like foam roll, stretch, the things I do, the decisions I make is my lifestyle. You know, and I think when people start viewing their day-to-day actions as their lifestyle of what they want to achieve or just how they want to live and feel, then I think that's how things just get easier from your day to day. So for example, bro, like I don't um I don't count my macros. You know, I don't eat terrible. I don't eat crazy processed foods, but whatever I want to eat, I eat till I'm full. You know, um, I I definitely drink. Yeah, I don't binge drink, but like
Right.
out for so like for so there. Because at the end of the day, bro, we have one life and one life to live, so you have to enjoy it to the best of your ability. Don't get me wrong. There's some people that can have fun without drinking. That's true. There's nights where I went without drinking and had a great time, but no, I don't restrict myself from anything. Uh, but yeah, but going back to your question, I think it's lifestyle, bro. It's like running, lifting, stretching, and recovery is key to my life. There's something that I say to my clients, just like people that I talk to. It's like what we do when we're not running is just as important as the running. And same goes for like weight training, et cetera, right? You gotta think we have 24 hours in a day. Let's say we go to the gym and lift an hour, okay? 23 hours. Let's say we go for a run. Let's say another hour, 22, right? And if we're getting ample amount of sleep, 8 hours. But like, what does the rest of your day look like? If you're working a 9 to 5 and you're seated for 8 hours. And like, we can go in that whole spiel, but like sitting, like your lower back gets tight, your hips gets tight. So, bro, from a lifestyle standpoint, like I have a stand up desk at work. I work from home, but I have a stand up desk. So majority of the day, I'm standing up. You know, I don't have a car here in Santa Barbara. Me and my girl share a car, but it's like everything's walking distance. So if I need to get anywhere, bro, I'm running or walking. So like my lifestyle is I'm just on my feet a lot, and it's funny because on with ultra marathons, it's really time on feet, right?
Right.
Um,
So
but yeah, bro. So like with running, is it's never really a sense of that, oh, like I'm dreading, like I have to go out and hit this workout. Like, and I guess it goes back to the whole gratitude kick. Like I'm blessed and thankful to be able to do this, right? Not I have to do this. Um, but I've kind of engraved in myself where it's just like, bro, like movement is medicine for me, dog. So it's just like running, lifting, whatever it is like it's part of what makes me feel me. And I know like this is how I'm investing into myself.
Next, I just wanted to go into you do a lot of fundraising with running, and I know it's obviously something to do with your races, but it's cool. And if you want to just kind of touch on that and how that started.
Yeah, so fundraising wise, there was there was one self fundraiser that I did last year. It was called the 12 by 12 Days of Christmas. I was fundraising for a nonprofit that was donating books, like donating children's books. But
Mhm.
basically, this is basically like giving back to the community, bro. And just like it, it gave me a reason. It was one of those things where you have purpose to your miles, you know? I mean, just without running, bro, it's like the ideal goal, I think, for everyone should be just to be a genuinely good human being. You know what I'm saying? Like spread positivity to the world, and give back. So it just happens to be like one of those things where it's just like I was so um, I'm driven by the competition, just like a challenge, right? So I was like, oh, like why not put some um, purpose behind my miles, you know? It just goes back to give back to those that are either less fortunate or just needs more resources.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so cool, man. It's something I've been meaning to do, especially for my races. I sometimes just get so deep into these preps, and I just like I zone in and like I try I shouldn't, but I block a lot of things out.
Yeah,
It's huge in the running community, and that's also a part of running that I love. That it's like it is about like helping the next guy and just and kind of it's very like fundraiser based, which is awesome.
yeah. I mean, but just in life, though, you just never know who's watching or who can take a little bit of something from what you're doing or from your journey, XYZ. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, even from a content standpoint, bro. Like, I have this one thing that I made a promise to myself, like to never lose myself in the analytics of the content of like likes or followers XYZ. And creating content because I personally create content because I have fun with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my goal with content is like if I can inspire and motivate one person to get out the comfort zone or to go out there and go for a run, go for a walk, or just try something new, or honestly, if they just watch my videos and just enjoy and like smile, then my job's
right.
completed. You know what I'm saying? Like if one person can find some value from a video that I posted, then that's all that matters. You know?
Absolutely. I think that's just like true with running too, right? Like it's just bigger than you. Like it really is.
Yeah. It is. It is. It is.
And the last question I ask everybody is, what keeps you going? Like, what's your deep why when you're a mile 80 or you're a mile 20 in chasing the sub three? What's your driving factor?
It's it's the constant chase of the true marathon, right? And when I say that, it's like the marathon of life, like to constantly strive a better version of you. And in my case, I want to long as possible. You know, like in as I just want to be as healthy, mobile, and moving and grooving as long as possible, bro. Like longevity is the game. So the long distance running is just a great way for me to do it because it just goes hand in hand with it. But bro, like I want to outlive my wife. I want to be able to walk my daughter down the aisle at her wedding. I want to play with my grandkids. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just thinking long game, bro. I want to have fun and do these crazy things when I'm 50, 60, 70, 80. You know, I want to be running marathons when I'm 100. I think that's just the main thing that goes in my head that just in life to keep going. During races, I'm probably not thinking like, oh, I need to live as long as possible. It's one of those things like just keep showing up for yourself. Just keep showing up for yourself. You never know who's watching. Like, um, yeah, it's just like I if you if we can't show up for ourselves and take care of ourselves and bring our best to the table in anything, then how can we bring it to our work, to our loved ones, to the people around us? So I think when I'm in these races, that's kind of like my perspective on things, like to constantly get through the finish line or to show up to show up for myself, because I know it'll trickle down to like the everyday life stuff, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And honestly, it's fun watching you have fun, like through your content and through all the stuff you're doing. Like it's a blast. And I think it's true. It's big in the running community, and I think it's different than a lot of sports where there's not that heavy. You're not racing anybody else, you're racing the clock. So
Yeah,
it
you
kind of
versus
takes the
you.
pressure. Yeah, it takes the
Yeah,
pressure off of other people. And I'm telling you, man, like watching you this weekend at the 4 day 4 day event, which it was so cool. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And I hope you have a good one.
absolutely, bro. You likewise, likewise. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, bro.
Of course, brother.